All right, we're driving now with Denise Hayman, the SVP of the Americas at Recorded Future. Denise, welcome to this Cybertruck.
This is awesome. Thank you for having me.
I know it's a bit of a thrill. I'm getting comfortable now, mostly, driving it around.
Yeah.
The traffic in the last hour has got completely crazy around the Moscone, so I've been stuck more times than I've been driving, but we're having a little bit of fun here.
That's all right, yeah.
Take me back to your first ever RSA. What was it like? What do you remember?
Gosh.
What was the story?
So I've been in the industry for a long time. I'm not going to actually tell you how many years, although you might be able to guess. It's a numbers plus sort of a scenario. But first RSA, I probably was with Symantec as a sales rep, and just like wide-eyed open, the scenarios of being able to see all of the security players in one place. I think that was my first experience of like, what is this industry that I have landed in? Because I really got lucky in landing in it with Symantec. So just, and actually every time I come to RSA, it sort of feels like that again, right? Where you look around and go like, oh yeah, that's right. All of us together. It's really fun to see.
And was that down in San Jose or up here in San Francisco?
The one I remember was up here.
Okay.
So.
You used to alternate.
Yes, it did used to alternate. You're right. Yeah, I remember that now. Thank you for reminding me of that. And there was Apple World too. That was here. We did that. Yeah, every now and again was in one place or another.
Now, you guys are not a startup, but let me ask you the startup question, which is
we're a late stage startup.
Oh, you're a large stage startup.
Late stage startup.
If you were to talk to a CISO at RSA and they said, I've seen the name Recorded Future, but I couldn't tell you what you do, how would you answer the question, what does Recorded Future do?
So we provide threat intelligence, or just intelligence, if you will, a layer of intelligence that raises the game for all security programs.
Okay.
So the whole idea of embedded intelligence makes everything knit together and allows you to see things from a totally different perspective.
Now, there's a lot of companies in the threat intel space, so how are you different to everyone else?
Well, first of all, we are, at this point, the largest independent threat intelligence space. Like, that is all we do from a company perspective. Like, we're not worried about, selling endpoints or cloud stuff or that sort of thing. Like, all we do is focus on that. So that means we have first of all, a keen focus on that element, which is collection, wide and deep. So our whole view of this intelligence space, right, is that it has to be relevant, it has to be timely, and it has to be delivered in a way that can make it actionable.
Okay. And
we feel like having the depth and the breadth of all that's available to us with all of our collection mechanisms and everything that we do out there, that is what we're able to deliver to our customers. And
it must be resonating well because you've got quite a few hundred employees now. Is it over 1,000?
Oh, it is.
Oh,
yes.
Gosh. Okay. How many?
I think we're right around 1,300 employees now, 2,000 customers.
Okay.
Yeah. So later stage startup.
Yeah, for sure.
But fun nonetheless.
Fun nonetheless.
Right? Yep.
Now, if you were to look at your goals for this year, would you prefer your team find more opportunities at a lower dollar value or fewer opportunities at a higher dollar value?
So we are very focused this year on our ideal customer profile, right? We've done a lot of work at really understanding the size of customer, the level of, what their investment is on the security front to really know where we fit best. So I'm first going to say what I care most about is that it's direct hit on our ICP. And after that, I would probably choose volume over size because we have a great land and expand possibility. Like, we grow with our customers, we assist them on their journeys around what they're doing with intelligence, and from a platform perspective. So that would be my choice.
So you get in and then you get the chance to sell more, which is what we want to do. Okay.
Yeah, we have 9 modules altogether. Our average customers are using, somewhere between 2 and 3.
Oh.
So we have a lot of great expansion opportunities. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If a more junior seller came to you and said, look, I've been in cybersecurity for a while, I want to get better, I want to get more successful, would you say to them, get really good knowing your product and knowing the problems it solves? Or if they had to invest in either or in their time, they got to know their prospect and their fears and frustrations and what they're all about and the problems that they have, which would you think they should focus on first?
So you're asking me, should they know their customer prospect, or should they know the product and the value that we provide?
Yeah.
Essentially. I'm a big believer in know your prospect.
Okay. Tell me more.
So over the years, right, the thing that I know, of course, is that everything changes. Customers don't necessarily speak our language. We don't always speak their language, but if you can find the place where you are talking to them and really just discovering what it is that they're actually trying to do. Now, this is a hard question, which is why you're asking it. But because you have to know a little bit about your product from a value perspective to know which direction you're even taking. I mean, if you're just asking random questions, it doesn't do anything. But really understanding what it is that they're trying to achieve and then mapping it to your business value, those are the 2 steps that I would recommend.
Okay. And do you think companies in general over-index on product training or prospect training right now?
That's a trick question. I know it is. For sure, products in our companies in our space tend to focus on product training, right? As opposed to, I'm a big believer in people coming in and understanding things like, okay, great. Who's my prospect? Who's my customer? What are the use cases? What's the business value that we've delivered? You know, what are the main objections that I'm going to run into? What things are working? What things aren't? Like, where are our best partners? All of those things versus knowing anything about the product, really. And I know this is heresy to a lot of product oriented companies, but
which is most of them.
Yeah, which is unfortunately or unfortunately, it's what makes us successful, right?
Yeah.
But it's also what makes your business successful, right?
Yeah.
Is being able to teach us how to look at things differently.
What is one thing that you see that just everyone believes in sales and marketing that you think is complete bullshit?
So, I've been reading a lot about and obviously getting involved a lot in what's going on with AI and how AI is going to kill what's going on in sales, what's going on in marketing. And I see it more as an enabler than a replacement. But that, sells things, right? When they're talking about that from the standpoint of like, here's a headline. So I think that is bullshit, that we're not going to be replaced by that, but we do need to use it in a different way.
Who should be most concerned about AI taking part of or all of their job?
Well, the one you hear the most about is the SDR, BDR role,
right?
Being able to be replaced by something AI. Now, I think the way to use AI if you are an SDR or BDR, right, is to use it in terms of honing in on your prospects, like letting it do the list curation for you, letting it do the messaging curation, even some of the personalization you can do via AI. But it is not a replacement for what has to actually be totally personalized at the end, because it can't sound like a robot. Otherwise, it's just going to get tuned out.
I feel like the last mile is where you could really figure out yourself.
Great
as
way
opposed
to say
to,
it. Yep.
Yeah, to
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
Let's play a bit of a game here. Fizzle or sizzle.
Fizzle or sizzle. Okay.
Which is hot and will continue to be hot, and which is going to fizzle out.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So first one, fizzle or sizzle. This Cybertruck.
This is a sizzle, Andrew. This is a sizzle for sure.
What do you love about it? Is this the first time you've been in one?
It is the first time I've been in one. Yeah, it's great. You know what I love is every time that we've been at a stoplight, 5 people step out and take pictures of us.
That's right.
Because it is unique, right? This is all branding and marketing right here.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've realized that as well. When I stop at a red light, when the red light turns to green, I get a beep.
Oh, I had not heard that.
So you'll hear this in a second.
Okay.
When we get the change.
Just to remind you to go?
Yeah, it's like you're checking your phone, right? It's just catering to the modern person.
That is like
when they look at their phone.
Knowing your customer there, right? Yeah, that is knowing your customer.
Okay, fizzle or sizzle.
Okay.
The big news recently that Palo Alto wants to be the cybersecurity platform.
That's big news?
Okay. Recent news.
All right.
Fizzle or sizzle?
I think fizzle.
Really? Why?
I mean, we'll see what they do, right? But they have, in the last couple of years, not been as innovative as they need to be to take that leading role, I think.
So they'll have to get there through acquisition?
or their own innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah. There it is. The ding.
You heard the ding.
Yeah. Do you have an opinion on that?
I lived and breathed McAfee when we were building our platform play at 15 years ago. This is before the McAfee of today. And it was incredibly difficult, right? Because you'll never do it all. So then you have to do it so you're going to open platform that others can work with you, and you build alliances and integration plays and APIs, and still there's not going to be enough for people, right? So,
but that's also that's a tight rope to walk, right? Because you want to have products that you're selling yourself, but yet you need to be open to others that are integrating with you. And there's just not an easy way to do that. So I think that's why they probably will not get their success.
In fact, McAfee built what they call a DXL, the data exchange layer, to enable some of that, right? But still, that didn't take off as well as you would have thought. So I think it's a very difficult thing. There's a lot more than just bundling and some suites and let's connect some products and have a single pane of glass.
For sure it is, yeah.
Anytime you've ever heard anyone say single pane of glass, it's a complete lie. There's always multiple underpanes of glass from different products they've acquired or whatever.
Yes.
So it's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah. I mean, we've definitely, the thing that we have found to be successful in that realm is, essentially pre-building the integrations, so that customers and prospects and partners don't have to do as much. Like, we come up with a use case and pre-build it for them and offer it that way. I think that's the way to get in front of it versus just an open platform.
Speaking of Palo Alto, so Wiz today announced that they took $1 billion in funding, right, at a $12 billion valuation.
Good for them.
Now, in 5 years' time, who's going to have the higher valuation, Palo Alto or Wiz?
Do we go by history or do we predict the future?
We predict the future, and we say in 5 years.
5 years. And the question is valuation? Who's got the bigger valuation?
So right now, I think Palo's run about 80 to 90 billion, right? I think they're just under 100 billion.
Yep, they sure are.
So then Wiz today said 12 billion. So it's 8x, 7x from where they are?
Mm-hmm. It all comes down to how will it continue to scale and grow at that level. And Wiz has shown us that they absolutely can pull that off. So I'd put my money there.
You would?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I feel like they got to do some acquisitions, and then acquisitions are hard. The integration are hard.
Yeah, they are hard, but they're ahead of the curve on a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a bigger waste of money, this Cybertruck or a booth at Black Hat?
A booth at Black Hat?
Yeah.
Oh, you could get me started on booths in general. Well, I'm guessing that there's a slight difference between a booth at Black Hat investment and this truck. So I think a booth at Black Hat.
Nicely put. Put. And what's a bigger waste of money? Would you say a Cybertruck or traditional sales training?
Okay, can we define traditional sales training?
It's the old fashioned
product. Here's what you need to know.
No, it's the old person who comes in and they do a 1-day seminar in front of your group, and they talk about their stories from selling fax machines and tell you how to sell in their methodology.
What's a fax machine? There's opportunities for evolving in all categories. I think the thing, and you and I have spent time talking about this, right? The thing that's important in terms of any training is the, kind of the micro trainings that you do along the way, as well as how do you reinforce it? And it has to be internal, not an external person who you're depending on coming in occasionally and teaching your team. It has to actually be taken on by the team itself. We just had a training last week where, follow-up was all email based. And I was thinking to myself, no one's reading that. No one's reading that. It was a fabulous training, but no one's reading the follow-up unless there is a specific, just like customers, right? If there's not there's the ding again. If there's not a specific thing that they have to do, a specific action that they have to do, it won't get truly taken on board.
Yeah.
You're in this industry. You got to see that.
Well,
this is what you do.
Yeah. I tend to not think I'm a traditional sales trainer, though.
You are definitely not. That's your value. That's your uniqueness.
Now, what is a bigger waste of time? Driving around San Francisco at the lunchtime traffic or reading the sales advice on LinkedIn?
Is there sales advice on LinkedIn?
Oh, it's hard to believe, isn't it? Is there anything else on LinkedIn?
Yeah, there's a few things on LinkedIn. You know, my view of advice in general is you need to know where it's coming from and believe that that they have enough credibility and enough experience to actually provide advice on the thing that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So it's random.
Yeah.
Like there's some good sales advice out there, but it's random.
I think that the bigger thing I think about is people want to give sales advice like it's a very narrow profession. And what one person does, they're selling the $100 million outsourcing deal at Wipro versus the $1,000, PLG motion upsell.
Yeah.
Completely different way to handle yourself and
Yep.
talk to people and everything. So
I know
I just feel it's broad brush.
right. We get categorized as sales is everything, but
Yeah.
it's very specific on who, how, what, who's your customer, who's your prospect, what are the problems that they're solving. It is not the same at all. I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah. And probably the biggest and most important question today is, do you think that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce will make it through the off season?
That is a great question. Oh, so I have two flown and grown children, both of whom are Taylor fans. In fact, one of them going to Europe to see Taylor this summer.
Oh, really?
That's how much of a fan. And I personally do not love Taylor. I do not love that love match.
Oh, okay.
I believe she could do better.
Oh, okay.
And I think that is going to be, my children will listen to this and be like, are you kidding, Mom? That's the greatest thing ever. It's got to be hard for her though, right? Beautiful, famous woman. Like, who does she find to date? I'm sure it's a small pool.
Yes. Very small people who would put up with all the stuff they just put up with.
Absolutely. And enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's been her issue.
Yeah. Well, Denise, it's been a pleasure having you in the car to drive around and experience the beauty of San Francisco that we're seeing just now.
And your Cybertruck.
And the Cybertruck,
Yes.
which is quite the experience.
I'm honored to have been asked.
It was good to chat.
Great. Thank you.